All right, this video should be pretty quick because it's mostly a review of stuff that we have already talked about, but I did want to give a brief look into what a conclusion paragraph for our research paper is going to be looking like. So with the help of Dr. Evil, let's get started. So the conclusion paragraph. So in our introduction paragraph, we had the whole ACTS acronym, the ACTS, of the attention getter, the connector, our thesis, and then a possible summary. So with the conclusion, we're essentially flipping that acronym to STAC, okay? So we're starting with the ST, so you're restating or rewording, paraphrasing your thesis and summary, the topics of your body paragraphs. So we're starting off with driving home our main points of that we find in our thesis and our topic sentences. So we're going to begin our conclusion paragraph with that, since it is what our most important thing is in our entire paper is those points. We want to start our last paragraph with them. Then we want to revisit our attention getter. You want it to kind of come full circle. So if you used a hypothetical statement or idea in the beginning about how, something really bad happened or happens to someone that you know because your viewpoint wasn't followed or whatever. Like, let's say we're talking about free college, all right? So in your hypothetical situation, your attention getter at the beginning of the story could be, imagine that one of your close friends wants to go to college so bad but can't afford it, and they go and get a bunch of loans, and then they go to college, they can't find a job afterwards, they have all these loans, and they get into severe debt, okay? So that could be your attention getter to try and get the reader to understand, hey, this issue is important. I should care about this because it can affect either me or people that I know. And then at the end, after I've introduced all of my evidence, all my topic sentences and my thesis about how free college is necessary and important, we can revisit that attention getter at the end and say, if free college is given, like I have proposed, for the many reasons that we've talked about, the situation in the beginning of the hardworking college student who catches a bad break can lead to like a very better outcome because they don't have to worry about this debt and they can focus more on getting the job, even if it takes some time, and they can get the right job and have a happy life or whatever. So as you can see, you're taking something that you talked about at your attention getter at the beginning, and you're just taking a look at it again at the end. It doesn't need to be anything long or crazy, but you shouldn't just restate it. You should talk about it and try and continue to evolve that idea or that point of view. And then finally, you have your clincher. So the clincher is simply providing readers with a real-world application of your issue. This might be a call to action of how readers should get involved. So basically, the clincher is where you need to show your reader that this issue is important and you have to make a choice on it. You have to decide what you're going to do because it is going to affect you in some way. So whether it's imploring them to go vote or support politicians who are pushing for universal education, or if it's signing a petition that you know about, or whatever it may be, you're asking them to go out and do something as a result of having read your paper. You're trying to get them to not only believe your point of view, but to act on your point of view and to go and make that difference out in the world, okay? So if we're looking at an example here, this was a sample introduction paragraph. So at the beginning, we have the attention getter, whether it's Spicoli from Fast Times at Ridgemont High or Thorogood from Half-Baked American Society, is all too familiar with the classic stoner character. These characters are often depicted with numerous comedic one-liners and an array of silly behavior, all caused by being under the influence of a marijuana high. That's the attention getter. We're drawing them in with some common pop culture references. Then we get to the connector, providing some background knowledge and some context to the situation here. However, Americans are beginning to realize that this portrayal of marijuana's effects is certainly one-dimensional and, In fact, recent studies have even highlighted the benefits of marijuana use. Today, Americans often debate whether recreational marijuana should be legalized. Some argue that marijuana is a gateway drug and is still addictive, and therefore should not be legalized. So that's my context and my connector. I'm transitioning from that attention getter. I'm talking about the conflict that I'm going to be taking a side on here. And then I'm even providing a little insight into a counter argument or the opposing viewpoint at the end. Then I get into the red section here. This is the thesis, all right? This is my main point with some reasons to support it. However, marijuana offers numerous benefits such as its medical, economic, and personal benefits, all right? So that's my introduction, my ACT acronym, my ACT acronym, okay? The attention getter, connector, thesis. We're going to flip this, so notice the colors and where they're at. We're going to flip this for the concluding statement here to perform the STAC acronym. So to summarize, the medical, financial, and personal benefits of legalizing recreational marijuana far outweigh naysayers' supposed risks of the drug. So the thesis starts at the top. Notice I did not just copy and paste it, all right? This isn't just something that I took exactly as it was and put it back down again at the bottom. I have those same ideas. I have some similar wording, but I've mixed it up and I've said it in a fresh way to try and give my readers another chance to understand what's going on in case it didn't make sense for them the first time. I'm also driving home the most important point of my paper right at the beginning so they can wrap their head around, this is what I want you to think, and then we're going to provide some reasoning for it below. Next, we have the A, or the revisiting of the attention getter. The stoner stereotypes created by Hollywood and other forms of media should no longer stigmatize the very real benefits that marijuana could offer American people. So, we talked about those two characters from those films at the beginning. We're revisiting that idea at the end and about how that's harmful to the viewpoint of society. Okay, so I've revisited it. I've explained why it's connected to my argument, and it's not just an isolated thing now to that being at the beginning by itself. It's now come full circle. I've used it again. There's a point to me making that reference at the beginning. And then finally, I have my clincher at the end, all right? I'm calling them to action. I'm trying to convince them to go out and do something as a result of being educated by my research. In this age when information can be accessed as quickly as one click of a mouse, it is important that citizens and ultimately lawmakers base their decision on legalization on the facts and not stigmas and fears, just as they should with any important decision in their lives. As this too is also a basic human right according to the UDHR. Okay, so I hope you were able to see that a little bit between the color coding and me explaining which part was which and how it's kind of connecting from the beginning to the end. If you have any questions on that, definitely let me know. But that's the idea behind it, okay? Everything that we do in the beginning has a purpose, and it's revisited at the end to once again make things come full circle, make it a little easier for our readers to understand the change that we have undergone in the paper. And a few more notes that I want to share on this. Remember, you are not copying and pasting anything from your introductory paragraph. You're paraphrasing, all right? You're referencing things that you talked about before. You're saying things in new ways. You're advancing those ideas if that applies. The various components of ACTS and STAC may be different lengths in the conclusion than they were in the introduction. That is totally okay. You are, once again, paraphrasing. You're saying them differently. So if that means it goes a little longer or a little shorter than it was in the beginning in the introductory paragraph, that's fine. That makes sense. You're not copying and pasting. You're not saying the same thing. So it's going to be different. That's totally okay. Remember, this is your last chance to leave the reader with something meaningful. What do you want to leave them with at the end? What do you want to make sure they remember as they walk away from your paper? That's why we're trying to make a strong clincher in the end, to call them to action, to go, hey, you need to go and do this. This is what you're going to remember and you're going to do. And then oftentimes using the clincher to relate to the reader's life or world is the most effective strategy. They remember things from your essay because those things have an impact on the reader. If you can make the reader have a personal connection, or you can show that the contents of your paper are going to change their life in some way, they're going to be buying in because their life is important to them. They want to know what's going on. They want to know what's going to affect them. All right. So that is all I have for you today. If you have any questions on the conclusion paragraph, please reach out. I'm happy to help. But you definitely should have a solid guide based on what you have written in your introduction paragraph, and you should have ideas to build off of and work on. So thanks for watching. Keep up the good work, and have a good rest of your day.